Gary, Paul, hello.
Hello, Joe.
Welcome to Johnny Breakfast. See this the show about men's breakfast and the utility of men's breakfasts, especially regular men's breakfasts, especially men's breakfasts in churches. You are a friend of mine from Christ's Hope Church in Ft.Wayne, Indiana, eh?
Correct.
How long have you been going to Christ's Hope Church?
We've been there since 2011 when we moved back to Ft.Wayne.
From where?
Uh, we left Ft.Wayne in '99 and spent 20 months in Texas, 20 months in Florida, 9 months in Tennessee, uh, 4 years in Pennsylvania, 4 years in West Virginia, and then we've been back here now for 11.
So you were on the lam from the law? I joke. It's a bad joke.
Yep. Yeah. Job transfers.
Yeah, then they finally caught him that would you would be good for Indiana Wants Me,
Correct.
the 1970 song. Your first men's breakfast that you recall back in the day, were you a youth or a grown man?
I was grown at that time. It would have probably been in the mid '90s.
Who invited you, or how did you know about it?
It was from the church we were attending at that time here in Ft.Wayne.
What's the name of that church, if you don't mind?
It's Cedar Creek Church.
Okay. I could ask questions about Cedar Creek. I won't. What is your recollection of the men's breakfast yeah, what morning was it? What day was it?
Basically, all the breakfast I've had knowledge of and so forth has been on a Saturday morning. That's worked out best for everyone. So many people still being in the workforce and so forth, that Saturday morning was the time where people could meet together for that.
I want to do a survey. It's impossible to do it, but I want to do a survey. The one that I grew up with, Trinity Moravian Church, was Sunday morning, 8 a.m. before Sunday
Ooh.
school, before church, and it was once a month. And so the ones that you have been to, yeah. So Cedar Creek, is that right?
Correct. Uh-huh.
Do you recall a second church men's breakfast that you went to?
I think there have been some variety of men's breakfast at nearly every church in all those stops along the way that we've come together in fellowship. It was not necessarily a regular thing, but at least I would say typically it wouldn't surprise me once a year that there'd be some sort of a men's breakfast and then try and have a fellowship time. It's the time of getting fellowship and lessons and so forth that it seems like it's more difficult to keep men involved with that.
I told you off camera that my theory is, well, I've told you this, or we've chatted about this, that men are generally and overwhelmingly, in large measure, isolated, lead fractured existences. I know that I do, and the men that I interact with seem to. Maybe I'm just projecting myself onto them, and that they need to be invited into the body of Christ, the face of Jesus, and it's hard to do that. How do you invite them in? Uh, do you find how does that rub you? And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but is that something that you could, that you warm to, or is it a little bit alien, that thesis and that theory?
I've found that it's been a little bit difficult for me. I've retired been retired for 13 months now. And when I was working down in Decatur. So about 37 miles from Christ's Hope Church. So it was not very conducive to being able to invite there for a 45-minute drive each way if they happened to live in the Decatur area, or we had lots of people from Van Wert and other areas that were quite remote. I don't have a whole lot of contacts here locally. Now, basically, most of my contacts are church related.
Yeah.
So that's why it's somewhat alien to me.
Do you have, see, I have a neighbor to my, looking at our house to our right. There's a guy, of course, well, not of course, and a guy behind us. And I don't think I'll invite the guy to our right for 8 reasons, but I think I'll invite the guy behind us. And so I'm already looking forward to it. Oh yeah, do you have neighbor guys that you're chummy with, or probably not, or not necessarily?
Well, we had one neighbor that fairly chummy with, but he was an older gentleman. He passed away a couple years ago. Still good friends with his wife next door and so forth, but and the family there, but no one that I would say that I'm close with. And a lot of that had to do, I think, we lost a lot of contact during COVID time. We've had a number of people move in and move out within that time frame, and there's just not a whole lot of nearly as much visitation that takes place now as what it did pre-COVID, I think.
But, next time I see you, I'm going to show you the business card that I developed for myself, which is just an invitation to Christ to Lifehouse Church, to the men's breakfast. It barely even mentions Lifehouse Church. I don't think it does. It mentions the link to the breakfast sign up, which is not necessary. How have you felt over the years in your men's breakfast attendance? Oh yeah, have you ever helped lead one?
Uh, we have now a weekly, and we're into our fourth series of 6 lessons. So we've had 18. Last Saturday was our 19th lesson of a 36 series. And I've been leading a good portion of those, unless I've been out of town or something. We do have not a formal breakfast, but we have donuts and coffee during that time. And it seems like that's a good way to bring people in. It's a little less formal than just strictly having a video that we watch and then breaking into groups and discussing and questions and so forth. But it seems to be a very good format so far. The lesson series that we've been working with, and we've had a good base of people. I think our low attendance has been 6, and we've been as high as about 14, something like that. So it seems like most of the time it's around 8 to 10.
To your credit, I will be honest, about a third or maybe 2/5 of the reason I go to men's fellowship at Christ's Hope is the donuts and coffee. If I knew that there weren't donuts and coffee, I might still go. I might not.
Mm-hmm.
So there is something to be said for that. But historically, have you ever led a men's just once or twice? Have you ever led a help to do the cooking for a men's breakfast on a given Saturday morning?
Oh yes, we've had a couple there at Cedar Creek at Christ Hope, and then I helped back when we were at Cedar Creek years and years ago. But just one of the most recent, probably 2 years ago at Christ Hope, that I think I ended up making the scrambled eggs and so forth, and then
How,
someone else was watching the bacon and everything else.
take a wild guess. How many men were helping that morning?
We probably had 4, maybe 5 in the kitchen trying to go through, but it was pancakes, eggs, sausage, bacon. So it was a fairly full meal there.
I was there for that one. That was excellent, and I'm still jonesing to come back. I'm a foodie.
Uh-huh.
So you've only done a sporadic men's breakfast, but if there were men in at Christ's Hope that if you doubled the men's population, which is not impossible by any stretch,
Mhm.
could you could you imagine what would be what would be the reason that you wouldn't or shouldn't even do a men's breakfast on a monthly basis at Christ's Hope?
I see no reason, as long as we had the people that would be coming in for it and also volunteers to be able to help prepare, that would be a fantastic time of fellowship, bringing in more people. And I think there's a tendency when men meet together that they can break down barriers that we've grown up with. We've had so many times where you're supposed to be strong and so forth, and cut your finger off, just smear some dirt on it, get back to work, tie a handkerchief around and say, I can do it. I don't need any help. I can do this.
I had a colleague, I think I've shared this with you, that probably killed himself. And well, he died and he probably killed himself. And there's no way of knowing. I'm certainly not saying names, but my theory is that for everyone that wants to kill themselves, let alone does, there are so many men that are dying inside. they're not going to pull the trigger. They're not going to hang themselves, but they're nevertheless they're dying because they don't have men community, let alone co-ed community, but men's fellowship, and so that they're the ones I'm trying to reach,
Mhm.
even in Northeast Indiana. We need to double we need to double the men's population of Christ's Hope, don't we? Let's see what we can
Definitely.
do. Let's see what we can do about that, Gary.
I'm game for it.
You're game for it. I guess that's it. Anything else that, yeah, I guess that's it for now. Gary Paugh, Christ Hope Church. Right now, you're the facilitator of the men's fellowship once a week, 8 a.m. Men out there in the listening area that can drive to Christ Hope Church on Carroll Road in Ft.Wayne, 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning. Boy, it's good times. The coffee is good. The donuts are good. You get 1% fat, though. Thank you, sir, for being
Thank you.
the very first guest on Johnny Breakfast Seed. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.